Pokemon cards are becoming more than just a hobby. They're becoming an investment opportunity. But unlike other YouTubers who share their profits without showing what they've really invested in themselves, I'm going to be putting my money where my mouth is. I've been building my Pokemon card portfolio over the last few months, whether it's singles or sealed products, and today I'm going to be revealing some of those numbers. Did I make the right calls, or did I miss the mark? In this video, I'm going to be going through the investments I made in the month of October. We're going to be looking at what I paid for them, what they're worth now, and maybe some growth percentages as well. Or maybe loss percentages, who knows? The big question is though, can I really grow these investments into thousands of pounds? Or is it all just hype? Make sure to stick around as well because I invested in a PSA 10 graded card and it's done, well, I'll let you see for yourself. Another thing I want to quickly point out is that in October I focused on collecting nice art pieces for my investment portfolio. So all the cards you're going to see today are going to be like really nice artwork, ones that I thought that were really undervalued and underrated. So first up we've got Metagross from Temporal Forces. Okay, so this one I went for because it's a snowy card and the illustration itself is amazing. Now, as you can see here, there is a second Metagross in the back rolling a snowball, well, snowballing, and I often find that Pokemon cards that have multiple Pokemon in the illustration itself tend to do better than ones that don't. So that's another reason why I bought this card. But just look at the card, it's absolutely incredible. So now we've seen how beautiful this Metagross card is. How much did I pay for it, and did I make any money off it? So I've got my little notebook here of the price paid, the current value, the profit or the loss, and the percentage growth. So I paid £8.95 for the Metagross with free postage and packaging. Its current value is £13.69. Which means that I have a profit of £4.74. Well, theoretical profit because I've not sold it yet, but I'm in the green, which is a 52.96% increase. So I'd say that my instincts on the lovely artwork you see here were correct. I also anticipate this one going up even further in the future because Temporal Forces is such an underrated set. So now we're going to adjust the camera again, and then we're going to put them on the podium. Look how amazing these things are, by the way. I had them custom made. I'll leave a link in the description. So here's my logo on it there in the light. I'll leave a link in the description for how you can get these in the UK. Unfortunately, America, I don't think you'll be able to do it for you. I had him make me a Game Boy holder as well, so this is really cool. Check this out. Hang on, let me just turn the volume up. That is nostalgia, isn't it? Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the Ninetales from Obsidian Flames. Now this card is giving Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings vibes, like the Forbidden Forest and Harry Potter. And also, Ninetales is such an OG Pokemon that this one was bound to be popular. Obsidian Flames was obviously not the most popular set when it released, however it's starting to gain traction. Now I think this card's going to go with that traction as well. Well, that's what I thought anyway. Let's see how we got on, let's put it down here. Okay, so back to the book of numbers. So I paid £12 for this card, free postage and packaging. £17.80 is its current value, so that's a big up, which means I've made theoretically £5.80 in profit, which is a 48.33% increase. So I think my instincts on Obsidian Flames becoming more popular as time goes on is starting to show that I was correct. Okay, we'll move the camera back out and move Ninetales onto the podium. Okay, so next up we have Zorua. Now Zorua is basically a starter Pokemon, a Generation 5 Pokemon, a bit of a fan favourite in the games as well. I chose this card because if you just look at it, it's such a beautiful, cute sleeping Zorua. I thought people would gain interest in like the cuter style Pokemons. Well, you've seen it happen with the evolutions over the years, and I think it would happen with Zorua. I wasn't entirely sure how this one would turn out, but it was a bit of a risk. Now this Zorua is from Scarlet and Violet base set. Now, like Obsidian Flames, I think that will rise as soon as it starts to go out of print. Obviously it being the first in the generation, the base set, Scarlet and Violet set named after the Scarlet and Violet era. So I do think this card will rise as soon as that set starts to go out of print and being hard to get. So let's put Zorua down on the podium and check out the numbers. Okay, so back to the book of numbers again. So for Zorua I paid £6.70 with 85 pence postage and packaging, totaling £7.55. And Zorua's current value is £8, meaning I made a theoretical profit of 45 pence. That's a 6.72% increase. While it might not be the massive gains we'd hope, we are only 3 months into this investment. So I believe this one's a bit of a slow burner, but it might not make me those thousands I want. So let's move the camera back out and then put Zorua back on the podium. So next up we have Scissor from Obsidian Flames as well. Now, Obsidian Flames as a set as a whole doesn't have many desirable cards in it. However, I believe this Scissor was one of them, and it was absolutely dirt cheap. I think I paid £6 for this card, but we'll go through that in a moment. And I just thought, looking at it, it kind of looks like he's on top of a cliff, like shooting a bazooka down. I said this in my other video, but it's very dark. You've also got another one in the background here, and I just think it's just such a cool looking card, and the illustration is quite like ominous and quite what's the word, mysterious, and I really like that about this card. This card also has a little trick up its sleeve, so when I bought it, it was very cheap, and then flipping it into a PSA 10, so as long as you got a good quality card, I think it went for almost, if not over £100, so you could buy it for a £5, and then you could get a PSA 10 if you were lucky, and then you could sell it for 100 quid, so that's like a £95 profit instantly if you did that. Well, you have to take into the fees of like PSA and all the grading companies as well, so it wouldn't quite be that much, but it's still a hefty profit. So let's take a look at Scissor and how he or she performed. So Obsidian Flame Scissor I bought for £6 with no postage and packaging. Its current value is £15, which means I've made £9 theoretical profit, which is a 150% increase. So I think people might have caught on to the PSA trick with this card. I have seen a few videos about it, and people have seen that you can do this, so people have definitely cottoned on, which probably explains the rise in the card in only just 3 months. But still, not a bad investment, this one at all. I've ran out of space in my podium, so I'm just going to stack them up slightly because there's plenty of room in these little stands. So we'll just stack them up there. Next up we have Cresselia from Shrouded Fable. Now obviously Shrouded Fable was one of the worst sets to release in the Scarlet and Violet era so far, and it hasn't been that popular at all. That being said, I invested in this card because of its elegance. It just looks incredibly beautiful. Like, it's so, the colours are beautiful. It kind of reminds me of that reboot from Stellar Crown, those type of colours, but this one's just a bit more vibrant, and I think Cresselia is a bit of a fan favourite Pokemon as well, so that's why I invested in this card, for the lovely colours, the lovely illustration, and the elegance of it. So let's put Cresselia onto the podium and zoom in the camera, and let's go to the book. So I paid £9.50 for this card with 85p postage and packaging, totaling £10.35 spent. It's currently worth £10. So that means I've made a negative or theoretical loss of 35p, which equals a 3.68% decrease in value. So maybe it's because Shrouded Fable hasn't really had the attention it deserves in some of its arts in the set yet, but I do think this card will still perform quite well in the future. I think it's early doors, we're only 3 months into this investment, so we will see some rise in the future, but that's yet to be seen, so this one was a loss for now. We'll revisit this though. Let's zoom back the camera and put them on the podium. Now next up we have Miss Magius from, again, I think Shrouded Fable. No, Paldea Evolved, sorry. Now this card is stunning. It looks like a portrait, something out of a medieval fantasy novel. It just looks incredible, and there she is, Miss Magius, front and center. If this was a big poster, I'd probably put this on my wall. That's why I invested in this card. It just looks incredible. It's also from Paldea Evolved, which was at the time a very underrated set. Now it's obviously getting a lot of attention because the Magikarp is doing wonders. It's over £180 I think in the UK. I was looking at it back in October to get it for like £80. So that card has gone absolutely wild, and I think that's why the Paldea Evolved booster boxes have gone absolutely wild, and therefore a lot of the cards in it are becoming harder to get hold of, like this Miss Magius, and it's a lot of the reason why I invested in this card, because I thought Paldea Evolved was very underrated at the time. So let's have a look at the numbers and see if I was right. So to the book of numbers again. So the Miss Magius from Paldea Evolved I bought for £5 with 85p postage and packaging. totaling a £5.85 total. Now, the current value of this is £9.89, and I think even at the time of recording, this has gone up a bit, because I noted these prices down a few days ago, but I'm pretty sure it's gone up a bit. I've seen it being flogged on Facebook Marketplace for a little bit more than this. But I'll go with the numbers I have, because it's at the time, because it would throw all the other numbers out of sync then as well. So that means I made a profit of £4, well, theoretical profit, £4.04, which is an 80.8% increase. So I think I might have been right about this Miss Magius card. However, it's not over yet. So 3 months in, it could go down, it could go exponentially higher. Let's wait and see. Let's go back on to, oh no, sorry Cresselia, I'm double stacking you even more. Let's go, put you on Zorua, back onto the podium. So next up we have Sunflora from Twilight Masquerade. Now this is the first one that we're showing from Twilight Masquerade. However, there's one at the end of this video which is a big investment that I've done, which has turned out really well, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like and a comment and tell me which ones that you have invested in, or which ones you thought would flop or do well. And also subscribe, because there is a video coming out for all my November investments as well. Now, the November investments have loads of PSA graded cards in there, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that one. Now, I invested in this Sunflora because it's so vibrant, the colours are incredible. There's also multiple Pokemon on the illustration itself, which you know from what I just said. I really like it when they do that, because they tend to do so much better, and I just think it's cooler. It's a nicer card when you've got more Pokemon in a card. It's more value for money, essentially. So let's go to the book and see what I paid for this Sunflora. The Sunflora I paid £4.65 for, with no postage and packaging. Its current value is a measly £3.50. So that's a negative of £1.15 theoretically, and that is a 24.7% decrease in value, which is absolutely shocking. Sean Connery said it's shocking. That was terrible, sorry. So I think this is a classic case of my love for an illustration maybe overtaking the sense of investing. So the logical side of investing. My love for illustration definitely took over here, and I didn't make a logical choice with this one. Although it is a lovely card, I don't think this was a right investment, and I do think that I have made a bad decision on this one. But it is only £4.65, so I'm not really kicking myself that much, because I've got a nice card ahead of me. Okay, let's move Sunflora into the podium position. Thank you. Oh, we've got Gengar versus, was that Nidoran in the corner over there? That's a fun one. Oh, who's winning? We'll never know, we'll just get Venusaur on the title screen of Leaf Green. So this next card is a PSA 10 graded card. Now, forget that it's a graded 10, I just love this card altogether, and it's one of my favourite Pokemon. If you've been watching my videos, then you know I'm a massive Evolutions fan. I've been buzzing about the Prismatic Evolutions set coming out. However, it's been terrible to pull anything. I've not opened any of it yet because I'm absolutely terrified to waste my money in opening it. But in case you haven't guessed it, we do have a Leafeon PSA 10 here. Now, this card is so beautiful. So I saw this card when I was looking through the set list of Crown Zenith, and I was looking through the set list thinking, every single card and illustration rare and special art rare in this set is absolutely amazing. Why is it so cheap? This was obviously when I was a little bit new to investing, so I didn't realise that Crown Zenith had been printing into the ground. So I thought, what a great opportunity to pick up some Crown Zenith cards, because there's lots of them at the minute, they're still in print, but it still doesn't detract from how amazing these cards look. So I bit the bullet and went in for this Leafeon PSA 10 graded card. Now this is the first ever graded 10 card that I've ever bought, graded card let alone 10 card. And what a great card it was, because it's turned out to be a fantastic investment. So let's go through the numbers right now. Leafeon onto the podium, which she was made for. Oh yeah. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit to get the 10 in. So I bought the Leafeon for £67 with £2.70 postage and packaging, totaling £69.70. Now its current value or last sold on eBay, it was hard to find the value of this one, but I went off the last sold on eBay in the UK, and that is £130. So that means I've made a theoretical profit on this investment of £60.30, meaning I've made a 90% growth off this single investment. And that equates to, since I bought it, roughly 1% daily, which is insane. that's a fantastic investment. This one has like made up for all the other small losses in this series. And I couldn't be more chuffed with this investment. It's turned out exactly how the investment's supposed to turn out. And I do think that this card has risen because Crown Zenith has become much harder to find in shops or online. At the time of recording, the gold cards have flown up in price, which is unusual because the gold cards usually don't go up in price. They're usually not that sought after. But in this case, Crown Zenith, it's gone wild. People are starting to realise that even though it was printed into the ground, it's still an incredible set and the cards in it are so good. Now, let's move. I don't know where to put this one. Okay, Leafeon, you can stay on your holder. I'm just gonna put you there and we are gonna bring a new holder into the fray. So now on to the next investment that I made in October. Now, this card is the Eevee illustration rare from Twilight Masquerade. Now, I could not get my head round why this card was only £50 at the time of purchasing it. I think I got it for less than that even. But just look at it. Like I said, for the common theme of this video, the more Pokemon in the illustration, the better it tends to perform. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different Eevees in one card. Just such a cute card. Obviously, Eevee is also very popular as well within the community, so this seemed like an absolute no-brainer. Like, why was it only 50 quid? Why? So it would have been absolutely stupid if I had not gone for this. So I pulled the trigger and I got this. So let's see what I paid for it, how much it's worth now, and if I've made a profit or not. Okay, so there we are. Let's have a look at the Book of Truths, the Book of Numbers, my ledger, my Pokemon ledger. So I paid £47.50 with no postage and packaging. So I paid less than £50 for this card. Its current value is £98.30. Wow. So that is £50.80 theoretical profit if I were to sell now. That is also 106.95% growth, which equates to about 1.1% daily since I purchased this card. It was also the first card I purchased as well, so I'm really happy that this card has done so well because it's the first one I bought in this investment journey. Twilight Masquerade had a little bit of a scare not too long ago and people couldn't really find it that much, but since then it's come back into print and it's all over the place again. So maybe that was a slight factor in why it went up in price, but it's still readily available, so I'm not entirely sure why it's gone up. My guess is that people have finally realised what an amazing card this is, especially with Prismatic Evolutions just coming out. The spotlight is on Eevee and all the evolutions, so this could be another reason why this card's done so well. Nevertheless, it's done really well, and that's made me really happy. So, all that's left to do in this October investment video is to find out my totals. So, in October, I spent a total of £172.55 on cards. That includes postage and packaging. The total current value of all those cards I spent, all those cards you see here in front of you, is £306.18, which means that I made a theoretical profit of £133.63, which is a 77.4% growth on my investments. And I couldn't be happier, and I think it's gone really well. And now what I think you should do as the viewer is subscribe and like the video, because I've made profit and I don't want you to miss November's investments either. So thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell me which one that you thought was the best investment. Well, you could see which one's the best investment, so how about you tell me which cards you invested in October or in general. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.